Hi, and welcome to another episode of Honest AF Show with me, Daniela Clark.
And me, Barbara Ann Wild.
And okay, we're doing this for a second time because we tried to do this last night and somehow it didn't work. But hey, that's us. That's what you get. We can't be all things and technologically savvy. So,
Let's just blame it on menopause since we blame everything else.
Right. It's menopause's fault for sure. Okay. So this is really exciting because last night we're going to do this again, and we have my sister Lilach Bullock on. And Lilach, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you. Great.
Welcome again.
Again.
So Lilach is in Israel right now, and we are recording remotely because we're all over the place. Barb, you're in your little slice of heaven in Oregon.
Yeah.
And Lilach, you're in Israel. And are you out of the bomb shelter today? Have you been in?
We had a quiet night. Thank God. I don't want to jinx.
That's good.
Touch wood.
But yes. Yeah, no. So let's just hope there's no sirens whilst we're recording. So
I know.
It's all okay.
Yeah, let's hope not.
Yeah.
Okay, so last night we were talking about, we started to talk about, so Lilach is actually, I think you're my stepsister, right? Technically, you're my stepsister, but I've always referred to you just as my sister. But my dad that raised me, who was my stepfather, who I refer to as my dad, he was not my biological father, is actually Lilach's biological father. So that's how we are related. And our dad passed away quite a long time ago. Oh my gosh. I was 22 when our dad passed away, which probably made you, 18 at the time? 19?
Yeah. I was in Israel, actually. I was on my year off in Israel.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I remember I was on kibbutz when it happened. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that my grandmother was the one that reached out to you and told you, right? Was it Sylvia?
No.
Was it me?
I think it was you.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay.
It was all a bit of a blur, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a real shock and a real blur because I was on the road with Guns N' Roses because Gilby was in Guns N' Roses at the time.
Yeah.
And when I came back from the road, I came home that night, and the very next day is when my dad passed away. So our dad passed away. So yeah, it was a crazy blur, and it was just, yeah, it was a very hard time for me. I took it very, very badly. It did quite a number on me, and we talked about this yesterday. But since we lost the interview, one of the things that was so interesting was that you and I had never really been super close. We never really knew each other until we were older. And I only really met you when Gilby was in Guns N' Roses and he was on tour in England, and they were playing Wembley Stadium. And I decided that it would be fun if my mom came and Gilby's mom came because it was such a big show. And my dad said, well, I would like to come too because I would like to see Lilach. And he hadn't seen you since you were a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And because, your mom and our dad had split up when we were babies. And so he hadn't seen you. Your mom had moved away to England and was raising you there because you were born in Israel, right?
What?
Yeah, just like me. And so then you were raised in England. So my dad never really got to see you. And so he was so excited to come out and see you for the first time in so many years. And then I was so excited to meet you. And then you were gonna hang out with us. And then your first meeting with us was you were 18, 17 years old, and the very first meeting you had with us w- was at Wembley Stadium. So
Yeah.
and you remember a lot of it, right? So
I remember every second of it because it was just so surreal and such a big moment in my life. I mean, just meeting your biological family is a huge moment anyway.
huge,
And
yeah.
surrounded by Guns N' Roses and and everything else. It was just a very surreal moment, which is just etched. It's like a tattoo in my mind because it was just, yeah. And I remember coming to the hotel because I met you first at the hotel before we were
Mhm.
at the stadium, and I still remember you opening the door of the
Uh-huh.
hotel room, and like you were wearing this tiny, tiny little skirt, and yeah,
Accurate.
yeah, yeah. And I said yesterday on the interview that, and I just want to reiterate that. I'm sorry, excuse me. That you were all just so kind and so welcoming, and the fact that we didn't grow up together and we didn't really know each other, you just brushed that aside and just pulled me into the family, and it was just
Mhm.
so lovely. And I remember and you just took me everywhere. Like you took me shopping with you
Yeah.
and all the other partners of all the members of the band. And I remember going out to eat with you all and sitting in a limo. And I'd never been in a limo before either. So like everything was just so big and then at the concert, which was so much fun and just and we were on the actual stage, weren't we, on the side?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was just so, so
Mhm.
cool. Like, you can't imagine the whole experience was just very, very surreal, very emotional as well.
Yeah.
Um, and just so much fun and just meet it. And I hadn't met so many celebs. I mean, I think at your hotel you had Michael Hutchinson was there
Yeah.
and Brian May was performing with Guns N' Roses as well. So it was
Yeah.
just like, wow. It was just
Yeah.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really wild and crazy time, and it went by like such a whirlwind. I can barely remember bits and pieces of it. But it's funny because I remember meeting you. I remember my mom was there, and Gilby's mom was there, and my dad. And then I remember meeting your mom,
Yeah.
and and
Yeah.
I remember that all the moms were out. Slash's mom, Ola, was out, and Duff's mom was out. It was all the moms were out.
Mom.
That's
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah. It
Yeah, it
was
was a big show.
fun. It was a fantastic show, and yeah, and I just remember some of the mums wearing, earplugs on the stage, stuff, earplugs on the stage and stuff.
Yeah,
But yeah, but everyone, Gilby, the whole band, I remember chatting quite a lot to Duffy and Slash, and everyone was just so lovely, and they were so intrigued about our story as well.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember Gilby saying, "I don't think I do at all," but saying, "Oh, maybe Sheer and I look a little bit alike," but I don't see it at all. I don't know.
I
Do you?
do. I do
Oh,
see it. Yeah, I do see it. So,
yeah.
for our listeners, I have another sister, my sister Shira, who I did grow up with, who is actually your biological sister, because you both share the same father. So, and I do find a lot of similarities with the two of you.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
there's certain little things that you both remind me of our dad.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah,
Do you think
no,
you like him or not really?
totally. You totally do. Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
freak you out? Is it strange for you or?
I like it. Yeah, I like it. I think
Really?
it's all in your eyes, I think. But yeah, there's a lot of similarities. Definitely. You look a lot like him. And
Oh,
And it's really cool because then when you came out here a few years ago, you came out to visit, and
Yeah.
I had talked about this last night with you about how when my dad passed, it was such a big deal for me. It rocked me to my core, and I have all his things still, and I've been carrying them around for over 30 years since he's been gone. I have like his cologne, bottles of cologne. I have his toiletry bag, his little travel bag, and I have his like a sweater and a jacket, and I have all his pictures, and I have his briefcase. And I never dared to go through any of his things. I just kind of put them away and never looked at them because I just couldn't bear it. It was too painful for me. Um, but when you came out to visit with Emily and Ian, when you came with your family, I decided I would look through it. And then when I looked through it, and thank God I did while you were here, because I found a picture that my dad had been carrying around of you as a baby all these years. And on the back, he said, for Lilach.
Beautiful.
And it was almost like he knew that I would find it and give it to you. He knew that we were going to be together and he wanted you to know. That was like his message to you. And so I immediately knew I had to give it to you. And I've always been very stingy with his things. I never I wanted to hang on to every bit of it because, I felt like he was still close to me. Um, and and also because he never met Frankie. He passed away before she was born. So these were things that kept him uh close to me and to her. And so I treasured everything that I still have of his, but I knew I had to hand that over because it was almost like he was telling me that that was for you. And it wasn't even almost, I knew it was for you. He wrote on there for Leela. So, so I was really glad that I was able to give it to you. But then after you left, I felt such devastation because I felt like if only I had looked years ago, then I would have been able to give you that years before, that you would have known that he had always carried that around years ago. And you wouldn't have had to wonder if because I thought about that and I thought, I wonder if she ever wondered if he thought of her and, if he wondered about her or anything. And this confirms it for her. And I wish I could have given it to her earlier. But life is what it is, and sometimes things just kind of work out the way they're supposed to. So and we don't always have the control that we think we do. So at least I got it to you when I did. So
Yeah. No, I mean, it was such a special trip. I felt like we
yeah,
really did, and we took
yeah,
Frankie
yeah,
out to Universal Park, which was really fun, and Emily and
yeah,
her hung out, and that was really nice as well. Uh,
yeah.
yeah, no, I'm so grateful you gave me that because I did wonder all those years. I mean,
I'm
obviously
sure.
natural.
Sure.
Um, but I'm so grateful that we came to see you and we just yeah, we spent really quality time together and it was really nice. We
Yeah,
were able to deepen our relationship and really get to know each other. And
yeah.
yeah, I only have amazing and I remember that very vividly as well because again it was quite a significant trip. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and yeah, no, I'm thank you for sharing that with me as well. And I don't think you told me at the time that you'd
Mm-hmm.
only just found it. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
think you. So I only found out last night that. So
Yeah, yeah. I had never seen it. I'd never gone through his things. I just couldn't bring myself to even look at a photo of him. It would
yeah.
just destroy me. So I just wouldn't look at anything. I couldn't do it. It took me a long time to just go through his things. And I think maybe on your next trip, I'll let you look through all of his things.
Oh, I would love that. Let's make it happen. We have to when it
Yeah,
settles here, I would love
yeah.
that.
But I know that we looked through photos and
Yeah,
we
we
looked
looked
at,
through a lot of photos and you shared
yeah,
so many stories
yeah,
because, it's challenging when you've not grown up with someone you don't know all of these things and the history and the
right,
stories.
right.
Mm.
And I have that on the reverse now because I have reconnected with my biological father who lives in Israel. And I have 9 brothers and sisters that live there too. So there's a total of like 13, I think, of 14 of us all together. But
Mm.
and so now that I've reconnected with them, they're sharing stories with me about him because I don't know him.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm
Wow.
kind of like in your shoes, it's like the reverse. So it's interesting. But anyways, the reason why I really wanted to have you on the podcast, Barb and I talked about this, is because I've been watching your weight loss journey on Facebook and on Instagram. And I thought that it would be a really inspiring conversation to have for our listeners because I know that a lot of people struggle with their weight or struggle with addiction or just self worth or uh, what's the word? Confidence. And I just thought it would be a really great conversation to have because you have written a book about it. And why
Yeah.
don't you tell everybody the name of your book? And
Yeah, sure. So I've lost 52 kilos now, maybe even 53 actually. And I've lost it all totally naturally, just using my mindset. Um, and
which,
yeah,
by the way, we worked out last night is about 114 pounds.
It's
yes,
incredible.
Yes.
114 pounds.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I've called it Escape the Diet Prison because I felt like I was in a prison of yo-yoing for like the last 30 years, like up and down, up and down. I've never lost this much weight in my life. I've never been this thin ever. Um, so yeah, and I decided to totally pivot my career from director of marketing and running agencies to now helping others with this because it's so devastating how many women and also men experience this and unfortunately people aren't very um or rather people are very judgmental and not very empathetic and they have connotations, well, just eat less and move more, and it's just so much more than that. It's an addiction, it's a mental health issue, and I want to kind of disrupt the industry as well as help other people because I don't think anyone should live in this. And I call it a prison because it feels like a prison. It feels like a prison in your mind, your body, and your soul. And it affects
Hmm.
all areas of your life. It affects your relationships with yourself, with other people, just everything. It's very debilitating.
I know. And you talked about it last night when you were talking to us about it. You were telling us about how um, self sabotage, like, just played such a huge role in it for you, and that you almost had like this visual of your saboteur. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought
yeah,
that
yeah.
was really powerful. That's like a really powerful way to describe it.
Yeah, I'm a huge believer in visualization and also
Um,
part of my process to heal myself. And also, I should add that at the time, my back was really, really bad. So much so, I had well, I still have it, a herniated disc. But because I was so big, and my back was just so bad, I like at one point I was in a wheelchair, and I would have to go out and a walking stick, which would have a little seat on it, which I would be petrified that I'd fall off the seat because my bum didn't even fit on the little seat. That's
oh my God.
yeah, no, it was crazy. So I could barely move. I was in acute pain, like chronic pain, like just standing up was just torture
Oh
for me.
my God.
I could barely walk. So I had all that as well, which made me put on even more weight because I wasn't able to physically move. Plus, I was so depressed from the pain. So that
Mhm.
just escalated everything as well. And I was menopausal, and we all know how hard it is to lose weight when you're menopausal. And I have an underactive thyroid. So I had so many things stacked up against me to
Oh,
not.
yeah. You were the perfect storm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I realized through a lot of, I did huge amounts of research because I was actually very successful in other areas of my life, but I would self sabotage my speaking career and just other things, my relationships, everything I self-sabotage. And I got to the stage where I was diagnosed diabetic because I was so big and so addicted to sugar. And I didn't even realize I was addicted to sugar either. So it was a whole awareness, awakening moment of I didn't want to do another diet. I was offered Ozempic, and whilst that's great and I know how valuable it is for other people, because I had done so many diets, I didn't want another thing. I actually was at the stage where, why am I like this? How can I overcome this? Because I realized there was something seriously wrong. And I just wanted to understand, well, why am I like this? Why is it effortless and easy for other people? And why do I just keep putting it on and off, on and off? What's actually going on here?
Mhm.
And that's when I did all this deep work and realized, well, actually, I have what I call a saboteur, and everybody has it. It's when it tells us to do something which we probably shouldn't be doing. And that could be weight, or it could be addiction, or it could be just making bad choices that we wouldn't normally do in the right place.
Right.
And so I named it my naughty chimp, my naughty monkey. Um, and learned to quieten it and to stop it from making bad choices and decisions and all the negative chatter and the self-sabotage. So, yeah.
And you talk about all this in your book about how you rewired your brain to
Yeah.
think differently because you were telling me last night that you would go out to dinner with friends and like half listen to them because you were so focused on what you wanted to eat next and that you realized that your brain was just like going into other places.
Yeah, no, totally. So wouldn't just be going out to eat, it would be every day. Like food and eating was a real central focus of my life. And it was quite obsessive in a way because, particularly when it came to sweet things, so that was my
Mhm.
guilty pleasure, anything cakes, chocolate, sweets, candy, crisps, soda, all of that was like something I just couldn't control. And yeah, I would like go out to eat, or if it was just an occasion and there was dessert, I just couldn't wait for it. I was so excited about having the dessert and it was on my mind. And I would be like, as soon as I would have a piece, I would like want more. And I'd be very aware of what other people were doing and if other people were watching me and if I could have more. And why aren't they having more? And you know what, I'm just going to take another piece, or is it okay to take another piece now, or should I wait another minute? I mean, like the thoughts that would just go
That's
through.
horrible.
Yeah, it was chaotic and it was
Mhm.
constant. Um, and then after would come the hate and the guilt and the resentment and, oh, can I swear? Am I allowed
Yeah,
to?
we always
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. So
we are explicit.
okay, like, oh my God, I fucked up again. And then it would be the self-hate and the self-loathing. And it would just become a habit and a pattern. And that's what
Vicious
happens.
cycle.
Yeah, it becomes a vicious cycle. It's a loop. And when you've had like over 30 years of this loop, it's so hard to break.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. And
How
that's
And
did
how
you
did that
do it? Did you just say one day I've had enough? Like what
so
was there a pivotal something happening
yeah,
that
yeah.
brought you to
So
that point?
yeah, I think, for me, I had to hit rock bottom, unfortunately. Um, my back was so bad. I was in, like, the pain was just so debilitating, and it was now at the stage where I needed surgery, and
Oh,
that devastated me, because I knew once you go down that road, there's no going back, and sometimes you do need multiple surgeries, and I knew my life would be over, physically, mobility wise.
yeah, and you'd already had, like, a couple epidurals, and they didn't even work for you.
Yes, yeah. So I've spent 2 years, 2.5 years trying to improve my back without losing weight. Maybe I should have done that one. But anyway, and,
Zach.
so oh, hello.
Oh, you're not in the
Okay.
screen because you're not in the center of the focus. Say hello, Zach. Oh, he's putting chorizo or Dotson in
I
there.
see chorizo, he's very cute.
He is very cute. Okay, you
Oh,
can go now.
I got flowers for you to show you how much I love you.
I love you too. Goodbye. No.
And Cherise, who loves you too.
came on last night as
Is it?
well. He
Yeah.
likes to join in.
Daniela said the only way she was re-recording is if you made another cameo.
Okay, carry on. Carry on.
Has no issues with self-worth, that's for sure.
But that
Loves himself very much.
brilliant. We should embrace it more. And I think that's also part of the problem that we have is that when you like confident, that has a negative connotation. People assume you've got a big ego, and we should be embracing confidence, particularly
No.
in as well, because a lot of women play small, don't they?
Gracie said she wanted to hang out with the girls too.
Okay, now you need to go.
There you go.
Aw, she's so cute, that Gracie.
I can't remember the last question. I'm sorry. What was the last question?
We
What
were
were we
talking
talking
about
about?
egomaniacs.
Oh yes, yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Oh, so what was the moment that I realized that was it? Yes. So
Yeah.
I was getting, also I was getting really sick. I could feel it. I could see it. I knew that I had pushed myself beyond just being obese and I was actually getting sick. My back, my menopause was through the roof. I was having hot flashes like every minute. It was just horrific. And I was literally having to go out with a little electric fan and my little sweat rag. Like I was having to be really organized for my whole weight story. And it just got to the stage where there was just no good reason to continue and that I had to accept that I was actually killing myself and that I didn't value myself. But what kind of led me to that before was, well, maybe I should just love myself as I am, because everyone, like all these people who say love yourself regardless of the
Right.
size, etc. And that's kind of what led me down that spiral. And I was like, well, maybe I should just accept me for who I am and just love myself. And ultimately, that's basically saying giving up on yourself, I think, in small print. And that's kind of what led to it. I just had this moment that just was like, I'm giving up. And in
Yeah.
fact, I was quite successful before this and a high performance coach as well. So for me to just give up was really, really hard. And then just something deep inside me was like, I am worthy of more than this. I was not put on this planet to be in a wheelchair and to, just not be mobile and not feel alive and not love myself and not feel sexy and happy and it just grew from that. And I just did it all on my own because I'd had past help. Like I'd been on so many different diets and therapy and nothing worked. So I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to do this on my own. And so, yeah.
It's incredible.
It is, and it's so
Commend you.
empowering that, you were able to take control of your life and change it and change what you wanted to change.
Yeah, I'm really, really proud of myself. And that's why it's my new mission to do this so that I believe that everyone has the power to change. And I know for some it's a lot harder than for others, but I believe that we all have it within ourselves. And the mind is just so incredible. Like we're so focused on and everyone talks so much about fitness and growing your muscles there, but we just don't invest enough on growing our mind and our muscles there. And I think
That's so true.
it is, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
can change so much. Like it can transform your lives. And it didn't I didn't just lose weight. I removed all the negative chatter which consumed my mind.
Yeah.
And was able to be free of other things. And it just has such a huge transformation, not just physically, but mindfully, emotionally, my soul, my relationships with people, with myself, my family, my friends, work, everything. It's just had such a huge knock-on effect. So yeah.
And in your book, you detail pretty much how you did this and how you rewired your brain into thinking this way.
Yeah, yeah. So I talk about it, and it's a real. And I actually I put it into ChatGPT, and I said, "Well, what's my approach? Because I don't know how to tell people, you know." And it's a hybrid of mind shifting, mind rewiring, neuroplasticity. I can't speak, and also changing my identity. So
Mm.
a lot of people ask me, and I say, well, the biggest thing that I can help you with is changing your identity. So if we think about someone who is vegetarian, okay, so that's their identity. It's there no matter what. They're not going to suddenly love the smell of bacon and decide to eat it. It's there no matter what. And it's also like if you keep kosher as well, you know,
Mhm.
that's who you are. And so as part of my new identity, I decided to not eat refined sugar. Um, so I've given that up because I realized that I was addicted to it. Um,
Mhm.
and I can't believe I didn't realize I was addicted as well. Um, and I also didn't realize how fat I was, which
Mhm.
sounds insane, but I mean, I knew I was obviously overweight, but I didn't realize how huge I was. And it's only now when occasionally someone will send me an old photo, because I don't have lots of old photos of me before because I hated the way I looked, so I would never have photos.
Right.
And people occasionally, and Emily will find one, or Ian, or a friend, and I'm like, oh my God, I just don't recognize myself. It's really weird how the mind protects you from seeing what is the truth.
Mhm. My mind doesn't protect me from seeing the truth because when I see old photos of myself, it just makes me sad.
Oh,
You know,
really?
Yeah.
I can relate because I've been on a weight loss journey as well, and I am on Zepbound. But one of the things that you said last night and again tonight that I really can relate to is all that chatter in your head. And for me, Zepbound has been more of a mental medication. It hasn't really been, I know Ozempic and I think it's Wegovy is more of it changes or slows down your digestion so that you feel full longer. For me,
Yeah.
Zepbound hasn't done that at all. What it's been has been a mental medication where it stopped all that noise in my head of I'm gonna eat this now, and then like bargaining with myself. And I do have a rabid sweet tooth, and I definitely have issues with that. But it's made me feel so much freer, and it's gotten rid of all of that negative self-talk or that saboteur, as you say, where I'm like, making poor choices and then having to, you know, figure out all different things to do. Like, oh, so tomorrow I'm not going to eat, and then when I do, I'm going to work out, extra. I would have these complete conversations with myself, and it was such a waste of time. And the Zepbound has changed all that for me, where I'm so much happier because I don't have those conversations with myself. I don't waste that time anymore. I'm completely free from that. And it has made so much of a difference. And I can relate to you too, because I think back to all of my pregnancies, and I have 4 children, and all of like, I hated taking pictures. I never liked the way I looked in them. And I feel so awful about it now that there's so many, I don't have, the pregnancy photos or the photos right after birth, other than, yeah, Zach, you could take pictures with the baby because, he loves, himself tremendously. So it's never been an issue for him. But it was just it makes me sad to think about that. But I'm so happy that I don't have that it's just like a
Mhm.
weight off your shoulders that I don't spend any time thinking about food anymore. It's
Yeah.
it's it's not even, and I mean, I don't even know where I had the time for it to begin with. It's so nice to not even give any of it a second thought. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's like a miracle, isn't it? It's like, yeah, and it's interesting because, and I think I said last night that everyone's very fixated on my weight loss, like the physical, which is lovely, and I'm obviously loving that. But there are times when I'm like, actually, the emotional freedom is better
Totally.
than the physical. I mean, sometimes it's on par, but it's just so liberating. It's just so freeing. You feel like a new person, and I feel like a superwoman, if I'm really honest. Like when you
Mm.
like, because I've achieved this, something that I never ever thought was possible at all. And
Right.
like, just like, I didn't even know emotional freedom existed. I didn't even know that this is what a normal mind is, because I've had this for
Wow.
so long. I've had it since a child, actually. I don't know any different. Uh,
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
amazing.
so to experience this is just so, it just makes you feel unstoppable. Like, if I can do this, then I can do anything. And it just, yeah, and it changes something in you as well. And I think when you overcome something really hard and challenging, and forgive me for not articulating this well enough, but they've done a lot of studies on Holocaust survivors, and I'm not comparing myself in any way, but my point is that it changes their mind because they've overcome really hard things, and it increases their longevity. If you look at most Holocaust survivors, they live
Wow.
like quite old, in their 90s, hundreds. And they say that when you go through a huge transformation or really change something in your mind, it increases your longevity, and you just feel so different. And I do, and again, not comparing myself at all, because that was just horrific what
Right.
they went through. But in terms of a big change and a big transformation, um, and there's a lot of studies to say that people who experience that, they change their whole rewiring, their whole body, and it
Right.
increases their longevity, and it opens up their mind more, and they have a lot more brain capacity. And I don't know, it's very, very
It
interesting.
changes your chemistry. Wow, that's so fascinating.
Yeah, it
I mean,
changes
I
your.
see it with my husband's 15 years sober, and I see it too because, like, I don't even know how he spent so much time. I mean, he had to physically be in a bar, hide from his family, you
Mhm.
know, miss certain time that he was supposed to be certain places, and now it's like all of that time is spent with things that enrich his life, like, coming in and annoying us. But other than that, I mean, just like, you know spending time with his kids, his dogs. He writes so, I mean, he's always been blessed with the ability to write music, but he has so much more time to devote to his craft. And it's amazing with any addiction and how empowering it is when you can really overcome it. And I think it's so inspiring to see, like, your story. It shows people, like, anyone can do that. It's all you have all the capability within yourself. It's not a magic pill. It's not a, it's not some sort of, you know, you have that power all within yourself. And that's incredible. It's freeing and it's empowering, and bravo to you, good for
Oh,
you.
thank
It's
you
amazing.
so, so much. And it's interesting you saying that, because I think, yeah, I think all forms of addiction, whether it's gambling, alcohol, drugs, yeah, I think, to give that up is not easy, and we should all be, celebrated for it. But I can understand why your husband is that way. And it's interesting you saying about how he would hide it, because I would also hide. I would hide wrappers. I would, sneak things into my room, and I've been hiding food since I was 8 years old, like
Wow.
that young, because my mum, who I love to bits, and we're in a really, really good place now. And actually, this whole transformational journey has brought us much closer. And I'm so grateful to, she was 80 a couple of months ago, and I'm so grateful. And she was here for it, and I threw her a lovely party, which was really nice. And yeah, and I'm just so grateful that I've got to see this relationship, because not everyone gets to make amends and to see that. But I used to hide food. Meal times weren't always enjoyable. My family come from, on my mum's side, Holocaust survivors. So I was brought up in a home where you couldn't leave the table unless you finished all your food. And,
Oh,
and it would go cold and horrible. Like it was just not allowed to leave. So I would hide food and then flush it down the toilet. And I was restricted sweet food as well. So then I'd be like, and even like my husband and daughter would like try and restrict me. And I know that sounds horrible. They would hate it when I would eat because obviously I was eating too much and I didn't realize. And I would be like a naughty teenager, be like, oh, fuck you. I'm going to eat even more if you don't want me to. It was like a whole battle. But really, I was just battling with myself and not with them.
Wow. And how are you feeling now? 'Cause I know you told us last night, like you're feeling so much better. You healed your own back. You don't
Yeah.
have the diabetes
Yes.
anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel incredible. Like, I'm working out now. I'm running. I'm lifting weights. I'm doing pull-ups. I'm like the healthiest and fittest I've ever been in my life. Like my stats at the gym are just through the roof. And I feel, yeah, my menopause. I've managed to bypass HRT, and my hot flushes are just totally gone now. I know. It's just I think sugar is so unhealthy. I think it
Mhm.
flames things, it exasperates everything from menopause to just the whole everything. So I think that's really helped. Plus obviously losing the weight and all my exercise and getting, vitamin D and sunlight. Um, and I meditate daily and I journal and I'm grateful. I've got like my little morning routines that I do every day just to like, because I have to keep working on my mindset, every day,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
continual thing. And I want to keep growing and I want to keep being the best version of myself. Because we can always improve, we can always learn, can't
Oh,
we?
absolutely. And
yeah.
you show up so differently when you're happy with where you're at, or happy with yourself.
Mm. Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, for sure. And I think it's infectious as well.
I was
Mhm.
just gonna say your optimism is infectious. I literally was just going to say that. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I've had a lot of people who say that, and that I've inspired a lot of other people to go on this journey as well. And
Mhm.
and I think, life is challenging right now. And I think we have to, like, the world is fucked, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And we're
Absolutely.
in crazy times. And I think mindset helps in these times. Like you can either wallow and be sad and depressed, or you can make a choice to see the beauty in the world and
Mhm.
good and be optimistic and hopeful and positive. And every day we have a choice. We can choose to make these bad decisions, choices. You know, the only thing, what I've learned over the last 2, 3 years is that I can't control outside forces, but I can control what I think, what I say, how I react, and my,
Mhm.
Mm,
and that's what I focus on, really.
that's really
Right.
yeah.
And, I wanted to ask you, I don't know if we I know we talked about this last night, but I can't remember if we mentioned it in this interview, how long it took you.
Yeah, so it took me a good 18 months. I did it really slow because, first of all, my back was so buggered that I couldn't move at all.
Mhm.
So, and in the past, when I would do my yo-yoing, I would exercise as well, which would really help with the weight loss. So I couldn't do any of that at all. So I really had to, and I think also that's probably what pushed me into the whole mindset thing more, because I couldn't rely on the exercise as well that I would normally rely on too.
Mhm.
Had to really go all in. Um, and I didn't want to diet. So I don't count calories. I've not, said, oh, I can't eat this, that, and the other. The only things I don't eat are my trigger foods, which is, the sugar, the chocolate, the cakes, the crisps, etc. Everything
Mhm.
else I'll allow, because I didn't want another restriction, because when I've restricted myself in the past, I lose the weight, but then I put it back on. And I
Mhm.
just didn't want any more yo-yoing. I just wanted to be done with it. I was so fed up with it. I was
Yeah.
exhausted. Like, it's
Oh,
exhausting as well. It's tiring as well. You know,
I'm sure. And especially if your body's not functioning the way you need it to function, also. And it's depressing and it's debilitating. There's so
yeah.
much to it. And, just psychologically, it's got to be so taxing.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So for me, I did it slowly. And I remember, first of all, walking. And initially, I was walking in pain and I would, walk through the pain. And gradually, I remember I'd put a timer on my watch and it would take 10 minutes for the pain to stop initially.
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
literally, it's insane. And then afterwards, I went to swimming. And then, and I was walking and swimming for about a good year. And then the last 6 months, I was at the gym, and now I'm running, and now I'm lifting weights and pull-ups and just doing things that I've never even done before. And yeah, it feels incredible. And now instead of trying to lose weight for the first time, I'm trying to grow muscle, which I've never done.
Yeah.
So this is
Right.
a new
Right.
experience for me. And I mean, it's interesting because Ian, my husband, he's a health nut, which is weird because, I was never influenced by him. And actually, Emily has said to me, and I think this was really hard for her. She was like, because she would beg me to stop, and even now she's asked why didn't I stop when she asked me and begged me to. And I've
Mm.
had to have some hard, uncomfortable conversations and
Mm.
apologize and ask for forgiveness because I couldn't stop when she wanted me
Mhm.
to. And I think she's found that really hard that I didn't do it for her.
Mm. That's really interesting because it's true for it's an addiction.
Yeah.
And it's true for most addictions that you won't stop until you've hit rock bottom and you're ready to stop. And it doesn't matter what it is. And I went through years of therapy for that because, with my dad, he had addictions, and w- I used to beg him to stop also, and he wouldn't. And I used to try to help him, and he didn't want the help, and we would fight about it. And, then eventually when he passed away, I was angry because I thought that he could have why wouldn't he have why would he do that to me? Why would
Mm,
he not stop for me?
mm,
And it took me years to figure out that it had nothing to do with me.
Nope.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, totally. And it's interesting because I didn't even learn about our dad and his addictions until you told me.
Mhm.
Uh, and I believe a lot of it is genetic as well.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
Absolutely.
which
Mhm.
is why I have, addictive personality.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's, and I think that played a part in it as well.
Oh,
If I'm
yeah.
in my whole life and my low self-esteem and things like that, there's lots of reasons. I think genetics and all of those, and also that was part of it. I was aware that he died far too young, and I
Mhm.
didn't want to go down that. I had that in the back of my mind as well,
Mm. Mhm.
which, is not easy. And I've not publicly said anything about,
Me
having that
neither.
um genetic. So yeah, and I really hope as well from sharing my story that people will be a bit kinder and more empathetic because, it is a disease and it's a form of mental health. And I think people don't also realize that they're addicted. For me, I didn't even realize I was addicted. And it does hurt the people around you. And, I can't change my past. I can't change the actions I did. Um, I don't have lots of photos with Emily, and the amount of times, and it's really funny actually because I went to a wedding the other week, and I was with friends taking photos, and some of them were like, "Oh, hold the camera higher," because it's more flattering. And I used to say that all the time, and now I don't have to say things like that. And it's just interesting how little things change. But I think my daughter's Emily, she's found it hard to see the change in me, especially that I'm a much more positive, kinder person.
Uh-huh.
I used to be quite angry, and I didn't realize I was also angry because I was sad, I was hurting, and you always take it out on the one you love the most, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, the people closest to you will suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it's really remarkable to me how good one can feel when they achieve something that they never thought that they could do. When you empower yourself and are able to push through something that's really difficult that you don't see a way out of. And when you do get through it, how empowering that is, how powerful it is.
Yeah.
Um, it really changes your whole perspective on everything.
Yeah, totally. It's life-changing. It gives you this feeling that you're unstoppable, that you can
Mhm.
achieve anything. But also,
Absolutely.
it also makes you, for me personally, it's made me on a mission to help others as well, because it makes you want to give other people hope that this can happen, and to believe in yourself and to not give up on yourself. And I always say that if I can do it, and I used to spend literally $10, $15 a day buying crap and then shitting it out the next day, like multiple times a day. And that's also debilitating because like
Right.
you have to be really strategic about where you're going and stuff, and think about, well, are there going to be toilets? And like, it's not just about weight. Like, I think when you've got a lot of weight to lose, everything then just becomes more difficult. And I've spoken quite publicly about this because a lot of people don't talk about it. Like, when you have your period and you're overweight, it is not easy, um, and just wiping your bum, and and sex, and all these things that nobody talks about. Uh,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
I really want to kind of open up the conversation, because we do have an obesity problem, and
Mhm.
and we have a
Absolutely.
low esteem problem. I mean, I look at the kids today and I just feel so sad for them. I mean, the world's just gone mad, and
Mhm.
they're treating themselves and how they think about themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I am so happy for you, and I'm so
Yeah.
happy to see you, feel good again and be free from pain and just be empowered the way you are. I think it's incredible, and I'm really glad. I'm so happy for you. I immediately this morning texted Shira, our sister, and said, "Oh my God, I had the best conversation with Lilach last night. I can't wait to talk to you. I have to fill you in on everything." And yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm really
Oh,
very proud of you.
oh,
Absolutely beautiful, beautiful thing.
I'm so, so grateful, really. I really am. And that's why I just do my gratefulling every day, because
Yeah, good for you.
I have so much to be grateful for. Like, I never thought this was possible. I didn't even know it existed. And thank you. I'm just
Yeah.
so honored and happy to be able to share my story. And
Yeah, I think it'll be helpful for somebody who's listening and maybe in the same boat and feeling and can really relate to you and to this conversation and can feel empowered by it. So that's what we hope for. That's what Barb and I why we do this.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
Leela, how can they find you and your book and
yeah, sure. So head over to escapethedietprison.com. I'm also on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Oh, not Twitter anymore, is it? It's X.
sex?
Yeah, X, Lilach Bullock. There's only one Lilach Bullock in the world. So yeah, and I'm giving away my first free chapter as well, so you can download that. And also, there's a few other freebies there, a freedom tracker and an audio as well, a couple of bits.
Awesome.
To read it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And hopefully you have another quiet night tonight. and get some good rest. I hope you're sleeping.
Thank you. Yeah, sleep's so important.
So important. All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Honest AF with Barb and Lilach and I. And you can check us out on our socials all across the board. We're Honest AF Show, honestafshow.com. Until next time, you all take care. Bye.
Hey, everybody.
We obviously need to do a disclaimer here, so we want you to know we are not doctors or experts by any stretch of the imagination. We are just a couple of gals that are looking for magical products, procedures, and experiences. And in our quest, we will share our honest as fuck opinions with you. So please make sure before you try anything we talk about that you know your own restrictions and do so at your own risk. Do not blame us for any of your issues. We're just experimenting too.